Hi friends, welcome to my channel Only Bio. Today I shall discuss the pericardium or the pericardial sac that covers and protects the human heart. The human heart is present in a small space in between the lungs above the diaphragm called as mediastinum. The human heart weighs almost 250 to 300 grams and it is mesodermal in origin. Very important, it is derived from the embryonic mesoderm. The size of the human heart is almost like that of the closed fist. So it's almost 12 centimeters long, 9 centimeters broad and 6 centimeters thick. Now, a structure, a protective sac that covers and protects the human heart is called as the pericardium. So we shall be discussing the pericardium. The pericardium is made up of two main layers. So I would write it here like this. The outer layer, which is called as the fibrous pericardium, and the inner layer, which is called as the serous pericardium. Now let us understand this. The pericardium definitely helps in protecting the heart, but other than that it also helps in anchoring the heart, that is helping the heart to keep or maintain its position in the mediastinum by connecting to the diaphragm as well as the sternum. Pericardium as a whole also prevents excessive dilation of the heart. So these are the important functions done by the pericardium. So as I said, it is made up of two layers, the outer layer that is called as fibrous pericardium and the inner layer that is called as the serous pericardium. The outer, that is fibrous pericardium, is made up of tough, dense connective tissue, which is mainly made up of inelastic fibers. Now when I say inelastic fibers, so here there is a hint that is they are made up of collagen. So because of collagen being present there, it prevents the over distension of the heart and also helps in maintaining the position of the heart. Even the excessive filling of the heart with the blood never generally occurs because of the tough fibrous pericardium. The fibrous pericardium also goes, or rather continues, with the greater blood vessels that emerge out from the heart. Now coming to the next one, that is the inner or serous pericardium, which in turn is made up of two layers again. The outer layer, which is called as the parietal pericardium, and the inner layer, which is called as the visceral pericardium. Now, the outer, that is parietal pericardium, and the inner, that is visceral pericardium, are separated from each other by means of a small space that is called as the pericardial space, which is filled up with a serous fluid called as the pericardial fluid. Now coming to this, the outer, that is parietal pericardium, it comes on the inner side of the fibrous pericardium and it is on the outer side of the visceral pericardium. Even this is fibrous in nature. another, that is the visceral pericardium. This continues with the epicardium, that is the outermost layer of the wall of the heart. Now, the wall of the heart is said to be made up of three layers: outer, middle and inner, of which the outer one is the epicardium, which is in contact with the visceral pericardium. The middle one is the myocardium, as the term tells us, myo, yani muscular, and the innermost being endocardium. Basically, the word pericardium itself is quite explanatory. This is being taken from a Greek word. When we say pericardium, peri is in the periphery or around, and cardio means heart. So this itself explains up that we are talking about a structure somewhere which is around the heart. Now, before we get into it, it is also important to know that the outer pericardium and the parietal pericardium both are innervated by the phrenic nerve. I repeat, both are supplied with the phrenic nerve, whereas the visceral pericardium is supplied with the sympathetic nervous system, that is sympathetic nerves, and the vagus nerve. So this is how they differ from each other. Now, the pericardial fluid does a very important function, that is, it acts as a lubricant and it prevents the friction in between the two layers of the pericardium. Now, generally it never happens that there is an increase in the volume of the serous fluid or pericardial fluid, but if it does, in that case we call it as the pericardial effusion. There's another term that is also used if a person has been suffering from any kind of a bacterial or a viral infection that has somehow infected up the pericardium, causing its inflammation. In that case, the condition is called as pericarditis. The pericarditis, a person suffering from pericarditis may have a stabbing pain in the chest region and a difficulty in breathing. However, that can be certainly controlled with the use of certain anti-inflammatory compounds as well, and also with the control of the bacterial and the viral infections which might have caused it. This is also seen in case of people, those who suffer from TB, some other kind of streptococcal infection. Now, that is rheumatoid infection. Rheumatoid arthritis is also another predisposing factor which has been found to result into pericarditis, but this is not really very common. Now, coming back to this, the pericardial fluid, it acts as a lubricant and it prevents the friction in between the two layers of the pericardium. As I talked about the wall of the heart, as I said, it is made up of three layers. Now here I am writing about the wall of the heart. It is made up of three layers. The outer layer called as the epicardium, which is made up of a single layer of flat epithelial cells, which is called as the mesothelium. Then the middle layer is the myocardium, which is made up of cardiac muscles. And the inner layer is the endocardium, which is also made up of a single layer of flat epithelial cells called as the endothelium. So all this together helps in protecting the human heart. Thank you.